What's up, guys? Welcome back to Ranting with Wrenches. We are back at it. We haven't made one of these videos in maybe a couple months, maybe a year. But today's topic is going to be, was your car everything you expected it to be? So Rich is going to start off with that.
Was my car everything I expected it to be?
Yes.
So obviously at this point, for those of you who is first time on the channel, I have a Ford Focus RS, a 2016, and I would have to say yes, it is everything that I expected it to be, with a little bit extra. I say that because this isn't my first Ford Focus. I've had two prior. I had a ZX3, I think it was like a 2000, and I also had a 2001 ZX3 with an upgraded cylinder head, exhaust stuff, like things that I've mentioned on previous episodes of Ranting.
What happened to that one? I forgot.
The yellow one?
Yeah.
The yellow one, a tree fell on it during the winter while it was parked in the driveway. So I'll actually throw up some pictures over here, and then it's also on our Facebook page as well. Yeah, it completely like crushed like the frame of the car, blew out the driver passenger side window. But I mean like, other than, I would say, like the power output of the car, the way it drives with the all-wheel drive system, it, like, at its heart, it's still a Focus.
Yeah.
So it's a really fun car to drive every single day. It's, I would say, probably around like Evo, STI weight. So it's in that same weight class. The top end is better than what I expected. So that's where the little plus comes in. So
Okay.
the car's got a lot of torque. The top end with the turbo, so like right where the horsepower kind of starts giving out, the turbo kind of kicks in and really gets it pushing further.
I like that.
So it's definitely it's definitely one of those cars where, as long as you take care of it, it'll take care of you. Because I don't think a lot of people realize, even though it's got a Ford badge on it, it's built by Ford's German performance division.
Okay.
So you got that kind of the German engineering and reliability, and then kind of Ford's knowledge on how to get power out of cars.
All right. So what would you rate the RS compared to your previous car, the Jetta?
Oh, compared to the Jetta, I would probably rate the Jetta as,
From 1 through 10.
1 through 10.
Yeah.
I would say the Jetta was probably like a 6.
Okay.
Only because, you know, that's literally an economy car that has a turbo on it. Sure, you can get power out of it, but unless you're gonna go, you know, completely building the motor from the bottom up, big turbo, and, you know, really like upgrading like the valve chain, swapping heads and all this stuff, you're kind of stuck under that 300 horsepower mark, like 235 to 260 is kind of where you want to stay, because after that, now you risk the chance of aerating the block. With this car, I would rate it a 9. I won't give it a 10, only because once you get to the, I think the 450 horsepower on the block, you're gonna aerate it.
So you got to start building it, basically.
Yeah. So unless you're running E, anything from like 420 and under is okay. If you're gonna start pushing 430, 440, 450, your reliability is dumping. It's in a ditch. Like every time you enter boost, you're risking a hole inside the motor. I've gone on YouTube and on forums and stuff, and I've seen guys aerate their block, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Now, mind you, this motor stems from Mazda's L motor.
Okay.
So, but that one had, I want to say, a cast iron bottom end. So the block was cast iron. This one is aluminum.
Oh.
So even though it's much better in dissipating heat and has that initial strength, as you start getting higher and higher and higher, and the torque range especially, that's where the weakness starts to kick in. But it's still fun. You know what I mean? As long as you keep your horsepower, like I said, 420 or the torque, like 420, 430 and under, you're good to go. Right now I'm sitting at 421. So I am looking at getting some extra work done to it. But I'm looking at
430. Or just more of like
I'm looking at probably trying to raise the horsepower, maybe like 420, 430, and maybe bring the torque down a little bit. I would like to see the torque drop down to around 400.
Okay.
Or maybe stay around the same, maybe 418, 419.
So you want like an even.
Yeah, a little bit more even, you know, to where when that top end takes over at around 3,500, $4,000, it's just nice and smooth. Much smoother, because you know, like initially, like there's like that slight hesitation at the top end where it kind of drops back and then it takes off. It pisses people off, but it's kind of fun. Scares the driver because you're like, no. Oh wait, never mind, I'm good. So what about you? When it comes to the WRX,
yeah.
when it's up and running, is the WRX everything that you thought it was gonna be?
I would say yeah and no. What? It's both.
No, yes or no?
I don't know. I'm gonna say yes to a certain point. Okay. Because when I first got the car, I didn't really. The only thing I knew about was like Honda. That's it. Okay. I had a Honda Civic. That's it. And when I was looking for a car, I just wanted something all-wheel drive and had decent horsepower. That's it.
So basically, you went from JDM Intro.
Yeah.
To JDM Advanced.
Yeah, basically.
there was no JDM middle.
Without even noticing, you know what I mean? I didn't know nothing about Subaru.
Right.
I was looking at a Subaru. I was looking at Evo. I was looking at Audi. I went with Subaru because I remember seeing one like years ago, and when I was next to it, the sound was amazing. It sounded
rumble.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean? It didn't sound like a car.
That's probably one of the things that you love. Also, it's not good for the car because that rumble is inefficiency.
Yeah, it is.
It's inefficiency. The newer ones, I think, have done a better job of kind of equaling out the header length, but also trying to maintain some efficiency. But even though it sounds so good, the car runs so bad.
Yeah, and that's why I say yeah and no, because I didn't know about the block capabilities.
Right.
I didn't know nothing
limitations.
About limitations, upgrading it, how much it's gonna cost. I didn't know none of that. And when I got further into it, the body style pick was amazing. I like the body style.
Oh, the body style. I love the body style.
I think it's 2010 to 2014.
The Stink Eye?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stink Eye. Stink Eye is probably the best body style. And it's not even like a huge difference from the Hawkeye. The Hawkeye, really, I call it the hog nose because it's got that little wedge in the middle that looks like a warthog. I like that one for the WRX, but not for the STI. For the STI, I like the Hawkeye version, even the Evo Eye, or even the one before that. Was it the Blob Eye?
Blob Eye, yeah.
Yeah.
They got a little wide body on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that one.
And then what else?
What about engine wise?
Engine. All right, when you go from a Civic non-boost, to you go to something that's boosted, you know what I mean? You feel a little bit more power. You happy with it, but then when you go on the street,
If VTech ain't got shit on this.
when you go on the street and you know you see another car and you over here thinking your shit fast, and then that thing just end up taking off on you. You like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, how is this possible? How is this possible? And that's basically what happened. Cause I work at Walmart. When I first got it, there was a Volkswagen. There was another guy with another Subaru, but his is a little more hooked up, whatever. Yeah. And they were just no challenge, no challenge. I was like, yo. And then once I got into upgrading stuff and this and that, it starts getting expensive once you hit that limit. So after you buy the intake and the 3-port boost control,
the bolt-ons,
all the bolt-ons.
Once you get past the bolt-ons,
you are going to spend a lot of money.
Now, real quick, both your car and my car have the same probably handful of manufacturers that dove into this, like Cobb, Panda Motorworks. Mm-hmm. I want to say like Torque Solutions.
Yeah, Torque Solutions.
Okay. A lot of those parts, like the intake, the exhaust, down pipes, up pipes in your case.
NVIDIA, parent.
Yeah. Expensive as shit, like no less than $300.
Yep.
For everything.
Your exhaust.
Everything.
Forget about it. You want a good sounding exhaust, you're gonna pay at least $1,000.
Like you're not getting the eBay exhaust for these cars. I mean, you probably could.
Yeah.
You can. But it's that situation where, like, the more quality you put onto these cars, it's one less thing you got to worry about down.
It is.
Down the line. Because with the Jetta, bruh, that car has been around for so long. I could just eBay order like mid-range parts, and as long as
How much was that turbo you bought for it?
Oh, the turbo was less than $200. Turbo was less than $200.
And good quality.
Yeah, it actually worked really good, and that was a KO3S version.
Yeah.
So, it matched up exactly the same measurements of the impeller, of the compressor, and then even with the upgraded intake tube, everything matched for the KO3S. I know some people were like, why don't you go KO4? But I was looking for something a little bit more reliable. I didn't want to air out the block, or detonate any pistons. So, and also I was looking for something where I could have fun with it. And as we experienced, as soon as I started getting on it, that thing wanted to break loose all over the place.
Yep.
So now, what about maintenance for the Subi?
Maintenance, it really doesn't cost you that much. Oil change, every 3,000 miles. Sometimes I don't drive that far, so I go by months.
Okay.
So you know what I mean?
So like
we work
3 or
right
4
here.
months, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 if the car's just sitting. All you gotta do is if you live in salt areas like us where the winter, just make sure you wash under your car.
That's an important one. Always get the underbody spray down. Always, no matter what, gotta get that done.
And other than that, you just make sure oil change, spark plugs, coil packs. You gotta make sure all that's done. Make sure you got coolant, especially in the Subarus. Make sure you got coolant. You don't want that to run out. You hit your close to 100,000 miles. Do your head gasket. I did it at.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But what about not just your head gaskets? All your gaskets.
Yeah. Head gasket, valve cover.
Because with Subarus, the one thing. So my father, he's got a Forester, and there's this guy out in Wind Gap. All he does is sell Subarus. And whenever he says there's a Subaru with 100,000 miles, he said he replaces every single head gasket.
Yep.
He said rear main seal, head gaskets, valve cover gaskets.
You also want to do your water pump.
Yep, water pump and timing belt.
Yep.
And he said everything at 100,000 miles has to be done, because my father made the mistake. He called me up the one day. He's like, yo, he's like, I'm losing oil, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm looking, and I see it on one side, like maybe a couple of like maybe dime-sized drops, and then I don't see nothing on the other side. So I climb onto the car, reach up, and you can clearly see valve cover gasket leaking. Now, that's probably like the one good thing about a Subaru is that you just climb onto the car real quick, you check here, you check there,
Yep.
you know, and you can see if it's coming from the bottom or if it's coming from the top. And I already told them, I was like, before I even got there, I was like, if it only happens when the car is running, I was like, you probably got a valve cover leak. So I was like, listen, make sure you change both sides once I confirmed it. I don't know if I want to do that. He was like, he's like, can you do it? I was like, do you see how much space I have? I was like, I got no space. I was like, you gotta lower that motor out to be able to get to anything in there. And I was like, just get the kit, do both sides. Like, I don't know, God's telling me like $1,200. I was like, that's a lot. I was like, that's a lot. He's like, well, I gotta drop the motor, blah, blah, blah. He's like, we were doing both sides. He's like, no, I'm just gonna do one side. He's like, you sure you wanna do that?
No.
And then guess what? He did it. The one side was good, and then the other side was weaker. Blew that side. Then the head gaskets went.
See?
Like it's that back and forth. Like that's the main thing. Versus a horizontal, a vertical motor. You replace your valve cover gasket, you're good. One shot.
Yeah.
You're done.
There's only
With
one.
the Subaru, bruh.
Got two.
Like it is not an all the time thing, but it's like when it comes up, you got to do it right. You got to do it right the first time. If not, you're dumping money into it.
Certain parts, if you're gonna change one, just do it all. Period. You know what I mean? Same thing with your spark plugs. You're gonna change one, change all of them.
Who changes one spark plug?
I speak to people and they tell me all types of stuff they be doing. I just be listening like, okay. Then they wonder why their cars still run like garbage.
I really, really hope that nobody that has watched any of our videos has ever thought about changing one spark plug.